Okay, so we've come to our third Rapha performance clinic for this year. It's been quite popular among you guys, and we've covered physiology, exercise physiology in cycling, and then we did the biomechanics with Boon, and then today we have a very special guest, Sin Hwee from MLab. I'll pass the mic over to Etienne to introduce more of MLab and Sin Hwee.
Hello, good evening everyone. Thank you again for coming down. This is the second time MLab has been doing this workshop to share more on the science behind performance and also on health, because MLab stands for attitude, mind and physical. The most important thing about MLab, right, that stands out from the rest, right, is really prioritize, right, the why. So Sin Hwee will be asking a lot of why during the session, and it's important to answer that so that you understand why you want to eat healthier, why you want to eat better for cycling and all this. So once you get it out of the way, you'll be sure to change your diet. And I will also introduce a bit about Sin Hwee. Sin Hwee, right, she's still a sports dietitian, but she was previously from SSI, which is Singapore Sports Institute. And although most of the practitioners at MLab, right, we do a lot of elite athletes, right, but we actually find a lot of joy, right, in helping, right, everyday people like you all, right, to be a better version of yourself. We find that more meaningful because the creme de la creme, right, they are really very good with it. So what's the point, right? To us, right, we find more joy and more meaning, right, to get somebody, right, who aspired to cycle up Mount Wandung, and he never thought he could do it, and one day, hey, I did it. Wow, that's a better story to tell. So Sin Hwee today, she'll be doing this with you all, and hopefully, right, you all can have many takeaways, right, to change your dietary habit, which is so important. Alright, I'll pass it over to Sin Hwee, and please enjoy and ask lots of questions because it's more about you than us.
Hi everyone, so thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening with us when you can be at home, you know, chilling with Netflix, etc. So so I'm very happy to be here today to share some of, I guess, nutrition tips on how to nourish to flourish. Right, so you can call me Sin Hwee or you can call me Ash for short, because that's my initials. So it's not Ashley, it's just Ash. Okay, here's a little bit more about me, since I guess most of you probably aren't familiar with me. Truth to be told, initially I was quite nervous about having to speak to this audience because I heard that the previous speakers were all, you know, well-known cyclists, ex-national cyclists. But actually the only bike that I ride is a Decathlon city bike to go grocery shopping. So I was testing. I was slightly nervous about that, but it's okay. I think I do know a bit about nutrition, so hopefully that will also be able to give you guys some tips to bring home. I graduated from the University of Sydney with a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition. I worked at the Singapore Sports Institute, as Etienne mentioned, for about 8 years. So actually I dealt with a wide range of sports, including team sports, because I was also from team sports, so I have a special passion in there. Also deal with some racing sport like sailing. I also worked with combat sports like taekwondo, judo, and finally also disability sport, which is also I guess a passion area of mine, because I find that the athletes who are maybe, you know, disabled in one way or another, they really show, they put in just the same amount of effort, and they really inspire me a lot. Okay, so the next thing about myself is I'm also the founder of the Nut Baker. So just now earlier you guys had some snacks to try. I'm very happy to get some feedback from that. It's a home bakery. I started around COVID period, so just like everyone, I was baking at home and feeding my family with, you know, breakfast items, and people were encouraging me to make it into a business, which I did, and I'm currently enjoying it a lot. I'm also a mother of 3, so these are my kids actually. Not human beings, but fur babies. Anyone is cat people, a cat person here? Yeah, I think we'll get along. And yes, I do enjoy the outdoors, and I love trying new food. So just for your information, no, I don't eat salads every day, and I don't count calories every day either. One of my favorite treat foods is having like a super crispy waffle, but it's still fluffy inside with a scoop of pistachio gelato. So if anyone has good recommendations, let me know. Okay, so yes, as E.T. mentioned, we wanted to emphasize on the why today. So my title is Nourish to Flourish. Before we talk about nourishing or talk about nutrition, the theory of carbohydrates, protein, and fats, I wanted to just pause here and let you guys have a think about what does flourishing mean to you. Another word for flourish, I suppose, is also thrive, thriving. So because I think it has different meaning for different people, right? And I guess that will give you the motivation to do what you do. I've got some examples that probably maybe some of you can relate to, which I will share. So, in the past 8 years working with elite athletes or national athletes, this is what I guess flourishing means to them. This is their key performance indicator, right? Standing on the podium winning. So maybe some of you here compete in races. This might be what flourishing means to you. Another, I guess, aspect of flourishing is also that I deal with a lot is improving body composition, right? So that you can perform well, you have a good power to weight ratio, or simply you just want to look good, right? Cycling, I noticed the outfit is quite tight. Maybe you can show off your pecs or something like that. Maybe that to you is flourishing, right? Looking good, feeling good, okay? Also, to some people, flourishing means staying healthy, having a healthy body weight, having healthy cholesterol levels. That could be what flourishing means to you. Injury-free. You want to stay injury-free so that you can keep training and competing. I see Sherry nodding because she sees injured, I guess, athletes all the time, right? So this is also an area which I am passionate about because I think as athletes or as active individuals, injury is kind of something that is a phase in your career, in your athlete career. So I'm very passionate about helping people to get back to their sport. Okay, maybe to some people, some parents with kids, is having the energy to chase after their kids, having the vitality to keep up with them. Maybe that's what flourishing means to some. Maybe to some it's being able to freedom to travel the world with friends, enjoy the company, and explore different places. Maybe some is the freedom to enjoy good food with family and friends, bonding, right? So I don't know for you personally, but I think these are some areas that could be what flourishing means. Okay, so maybe you have a think what is it to you. So why I'm getting you guys to have a think is because I think when you know your why, then your what becomes clearer. So now that I've spoken so much, I want to hear a bit from you guys. Why are you here today listening to a nutrition talk? Can just shout out some reasons why, or what kind of tips are you looking for? What are you looking to change? Anyone? You can use this as a guide if there's.
I volunteer a bit.
Volunteer.
I see.
Get the ball rolling.
I think more importantly is to know what to eat so that I can perform at longer distances of riding and longer duration of exercise. And of course, minimize all the expensive shit like gels and all that. If I can take natural food, that's what I personally prefer also.
Awesome. I hear eat real food. That's also a philosophy
exactly.
I have
Yes.
very much. So, someone else over there.
I want to know what not to eat.
What not to eat? Okay, I think that's also a good point. Anyone else? When to eat? Yeah. So actually, sport nutrition have different aspects, right? We talk about what. We also talk about the when, the timing. And I think one more thing that I'd like to talk about is so how. How are we eating? So later we'll have a little activity, but I will not reveal the secret yet, okay? Okay, let's move on. So, in my experience working as a dietitian, right, most of the time I say when I work as a dietitian, my friends and family will comment, how do I lose weight? How do I lose fat? That's what I get all the time. Okay, which funny enough because I'm not a slimming expert, but I work with performance athletes And this is one of the goals, but it's really not everything. What do you guys think about this statement? I need to cut carbs to lose body fat.
Blasphemy!
Maybe for cyclists, carbs is like a big thing. Is it? Like you guys focus on that a lot. Maybe this one is not so relevant for this audience here. Yep, someone
I
else.
think it just depends on the person. Like, so somebody who exercises a lot, maybe it doesn't apply. Maybe if you don't exercise a lot, maybe it applies. So,
Exactly. I think that is what I am going to target at actually. It really depends on what's your physical activity like. What are your goals? Is your goal to maintain weight? Is your goal to gain muscle mass? Or is your goal to perform well, to compete well? This will all affect, for example, your carbohydrate strategies. Okay? So actually, I like to reframe it for a lot of people because I find that positive reinforcement works better than negative reinforcement, even though just now someone talked about what I should not eat, right? Okay, so, but this is something I like to emphasize because I find that when people know what they should be having more of, naturally the not so good stuff, right, will creep out of their diet and maybe eventually eliminated. So focus on what I should include, and then the not so good thing will naturally, I think that it's better for the psychology, at least psychologically it works a bit better. Okay, so I will now share about what we should be having more of in our diet. What can we be focusing our attention on? So this is a plate model I share with my athletes a lot. This is our version of a balanced plate. Okay, so a balanced plate, usually we will have 3 components. We have a nice acronym here, the 3 Gs, to stand for each of the component. Okay, so we have the goal foods. So importantly, of course, this is like fuel for our body, our body's preferred source of fuel, and also our brain's preferred source of fuel. Okay, so I don't think I need to go through the details of what constitutes carbs. I think all of you should be quite clear here. Okay, then next category will be grow. This one is also self-explanatory, muscle repair. I guess another thing about protein is that I like to highlight is also it's important for satiety. So even for people who are looking to say, lose body fat, I think for everyone, losing body fat can be a goal because ultimately you want to minimize the mass that doesn't contribute to your functional performance, right? You want to gain muscle, but if you can lose some body fat, it will also be helpful. So having enough protein in your diet regulates your appetite. You don't get too hungry and wanting to eat, say snack foods or foods that are not so nutritious. So important to have enough. And then the final category, which is my favorite category, is the glow foods. This is a category that I notice a lot of people tend to neglect. Okay, so yeah, you focus on your carbs and protein, but the different colors, fruits and vegetables, I think more or less people don't get enough of, right? Why it's so important? Because it has important vitamins, minerals, as well as antioxidant. In fact, each color represents a different antioxidant and a different vitamin. Later I will share more about this. But in order to stay healthy, to keep training, you need to eat a rainbow. At this point, any questions here? If not, we'll move on. Okay, another kind of statement that I come across also is, cheat meal. The concept about cheat meal. I keep a very strict diet, maybe Monday to Saturday. But Sunday I just eat whatever I want, right? I just let the floodgates open. What do you guys think about this sort of mindset or behavior? Do you support it or do you not?
I think this statement is more toward like a waking up. I seldom see cyclists stick to this because you eat a lot of junk when you ride. Like you eat a pack of Haribos doing a 150-kilometer ride. Whereas when you go to the gym, you really stick to a plan. Maybe Sunday to Saturday, right? And then you have your cheat day on Sunday. Whereas a cyclist, I've never heard that statement as a cyclist. That's
Interesting.
why I did it.
Yeah, I need to understand this community a bit better, but thanks for sharing. Do you all agree with that? Like, you guys don't really talk about this cheat meal concept much.
Actually, it's like coming from like a gym perspective. Yeah. Because I've been working out in the gym and usually people have this kind of mindset. But then I started cycling and then I was like, hey, cheat day eating like gummy bears and shit.
So you've been eating so well that you don't need to cheat in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, that's an interesting. Yeah. So actually, this cycling community is quite healthy, I must say. You know. Yeah.
Like, maybe there's also this culture, and I don't know, maybe not cyclists, but just in general, people kind of say, if I do the exercise, then I'll have a day where I just go crazy. I deserve, like,
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, let's say I eat a cookie, I need to run how long to burn off that cookie. Yeah, so actually this is kind of like a compensatory behavior, which is quite unhealthy because based on the experience, it actually lead to unhealthy relationship with food, which can cause some problems down the road, right? So I like to say that actually there's no moral value attached to food. So just now when you guys mentioned, Haribos every day, yeah, so really it is more about fueling for the work required, right? Rather than, okay, I eat well and then like I have this like all or nothing concept, which really doesn't work in the long term because if this cheat day you can eat very well, but your entire calories for the week probably will be higher than if every day you allow some flexibility in your diet. So yeah, I don't quite like this idea of a cheat day because it puts food into like, a certain moral value, which I think any food can be part of your diet. It's just about how often you have it and what context you're having it in. So for example, you have a hard intensity, right? You need extra top-up fuel. Carbo is fine because that's going to give you fuel for your muscles. But if you are an office worker sitting in the office whole day, then okay, probably you shouldn't be having too much Haribos, right? Because that's going to be excess calories, which will then lead to increased weight gain or body fat. So it depends on the context. So yeah, I think I alluded to this concept earlier on about eating for the work required, which I think this concept should be pretty familiar with cyclists since you guys talk about carbohydrates a lot, right? So I think this graph here basically shows how dependent our bodies are on using carbohydrates depending on exercise intensity. So for example, on a race day, how you win is usually from those important moments, what is your speed like, whether you're able to catch up with the person, how you finish off. All this requires high intensity efforts. So that is why having enough carbohydrates is so important. Okay, so we like to talk about the concept of periodization. So it's not about, okay, being strict and then cheat, but it's about how you adjust your intake based on what are you doing that day. What is your training load like? What is it a rest day? Is it a double session day? Is it depends on what's your mileage as well. So I think the plate models kind of nicely put it, for example, if you compare this to the earlier one I showed, you'll see that this proportion of the plate, half of it is made up of fruits and vegetables, which are mainly the fiber antioxidants, and you notice that the carbohydrate portion here is a bit reduced to a quarter plate. Okay, this is because it's a less intense training day, less calories required, less carbs required, as compared to, say, a hard training day, competition day, where you will then adjust your plates again to have more carbohydrates on there. Okay, so you notice a similarity between this plate and this plate. What is the similarity? Yeah. So this also highlights the idea that we should have a consistent protein intake, whether or not you're training hard or it's a rest day. Yes?
Ash, can you explain the difference between easy and hard in this context?
Okay, so easy and hard, it can be in either the duration of the exercise or the intensity of the exercise. Okay, so we are talking about easy training day, maybe it's easy ride, not too long distance in the cycling context. Maybe the physiologists can help me out with this cycling terms, What is an easy day for a cyclist?
Friday rides. Ride in circles, go drink coffee, eat prata. Right.
Monday, right?
Easy ride.
There are Friday rides which are intense as well.
Oh, sorry. Friday rides intense really.
Social rides.
social, right? Yeah, those are.
Or it could be a rest day. The day that you are not riding, you're just chilling out.
Chit-chatting, taking photos on the rides.
Yeah. And then what would you say is a hard training day? A hard
day, I think like
1,000 calories.
Yes, 1,000 calories. Like
WTF.
WTF, right? Like a bit right? Like.
That's 5,000 calories, bro.
That is hard, right?
Sometimes I like to explain high intensity, moderate intensity, and low intensity as whether or not you can still talk when you're doing the workout. So if you're so tired that you're like panting up and now you're huffing, puffing, you can't talk, that's likely to be high intensity.
Irving's right, the benchmark is you score what the fuck. I'm sorry. yes. So
I think that makes sense. It makes you angry.
Don't say it. You heard this morning our power no one talk, This morning our power no one talk. Yeah. Because Toby and Darren and Alvin was carrying it up. That was a hard training right this morning.
Okay, so maybe we can put this into our. Oh wait, someone has a question.
I just have a question. So I noticed on both easy and hard, it's just these silly details I sometimes look at. But the Gatorade bottle that you have is a Gatorade Zero.
Okay.
So I'm just curious, like, do you think that you should try not to have like any carbohydrates?
Okay, this picture I must confess that is gotten off a Gatorade infographic page. Hence the Gatorade is there. So I would say.
No, it's a Gatorade Zero. That's why.
Yeah, and I would say for a hard day, it need not be a zero. In fact, when you're having long rides, some carbohydrates on the road is helpful. So yeah, this one can just ignore the Gatorade part. Yeah. I wanted to also have a discussion on this particular plate, right? Like on the. Oh, sorry, and more questions.
I noticed under hydration you put diluted juice. What do you mean by diluted juice and why do we dilute?
Okay. I guess it's you guys really notice the details here. Even I can notice it. You can see me right now. Okay, so there's something along the lines of making it isotonic and also making it easily for our body to absorb. Because for fruit juices, most of the time the sugar content is about 10%, compared to an isotonic drink which would be about like 5 or 6%, which has been studied to be best absorbed by the body, best hydrate the body. So by diluting the juice, you can actually mimic isotonic drink. Maybe add some salt into there, you get some electrolytes. Yeah, I think that's why the diluted juice. Less sugar and you drink more without over consuming. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you guys is it easy for you to achieve this plate when eating out in Singapore? Anyone has any ideas? If I want to have an easy plate, what do I do?
Yeah, it's easy.
Right? You just eat half the rice, get more vegetables choose the vegetables, and then still have your protein. Cai fan is one way you can do it.
It's $3.80, it was good, it's fine.
Economical too, that's why it's called economic rice.
Actually, to achieve this, you need daily cut, which is like 4 times the price of Cai fan, honestly. You need the premium daily cut.
I didn't have any meat, to be fair. Yeah.
Daily cut. Yeah, that's one of the more expensive brands.
Yeah.
But I think there are other like salad bowls shop around. Stuffed. Yeah, you can also easily kind of choose and pick. Yeah, so there are options. Or maybe like even if you go to a Western food joint, like you can get maybe Aston's or something. You get the protein, which is maybe a chicken chop, and then you choose, 2 veggies, get a roasted potato to be your quarter plate, or even things like yong tau fu. You can also get lots of vegetables. You can choose the vegetables. Protein-wise, you can get hard-boiled eggs, you get tofu, and then the carbohydrates-wise, choose some bihun. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that actually, if you put some thought and intention into eating out, you could achieve such a plate as well. Okay, it's not impossible. Okay, so the other reframe that I wanted to highlight, which I think is not a big issue for this crowd actually, since you say that you don't usually practice the cheat meal, you still allow, refined carbohydrates into your diet. So I like to think of this 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the time we eat according to that balanced plate. we include, the nutritious foods into a diet. But 20% of the time, I think we can also allow ourselves to have treat foods that we enjoy, foods that make us happy. Because I think this is the way that our diet can be sustainable in the long run, rather than seeing it as I have to work for it or I have to abstain. Because we notice that the more you restrict yourself, the more likely you are overindulged later on. Yeah, studies have proven that. Okay, so right now,
So can I ask a question? How far do you allow that 20% rule? Like, are you saying that you can go and eat like say ice cream, like it's half, like 20% of your diet is purely just a tub of ice cream? Or would you call like maybe dark chocolate and some mine is that dark chocolate and dates, that's my cheat meal every day. And then I only allow myself one square every day.
yeah.
That's a cheat meal for me. It's like going, whoa, I'm eating like a tub of ice cream.
That's a good cheat meal, I would say. Okay, so this 80-20, it's quite individual. There's no really what constitute 80 and 20. But I guess it's a point where you need some experience, I think, to see for yourself what is a good balance. What are some things you can check on is, okay, I'm eating this way, I'm allowing, for example, the chocolate, the dates. How is my performance in cycling? How do I feel daily? Do I feel that, I'm flourishing, I'm thriving? Or if I feel that, I'm feeling sluggish, yesterday's muffin was too much, then you can kind of adjust it. But I think in the long term, you'll find a sweet spot where you can have those treats and yet you will find yourself still thriving and flourishing. I think that's the point where I can say that, you're successful in your nutrition plan. Yeah, so it does need a little bit of trial and error, I would say. There's no one size fits all for everyone. And maybe I like chocolate, but the gentleman over there may not like chocolate, so chocolate is not his 20%. His 20% might be, I don't know, roti prata or something. Yeah.
I'm probably jumping ahead. You're probably going to get some timing pretty soon as well, but how late into the evening is just too late to eat?
You mean in terms of timing of intake?
Yeah, because I typically eat earlier in the evening, pretty early, and then obviously the next day is between 5 and 20. So is there what's the kind of sweet spot?
Okay, in terms of timing of intake, are you looking at the performance side of things or are you looking at wanting to maintain the body composition? What is your goal that you're looking at?
Is there a point in the evening where it's just too late to eat?
Okay, I think it depends on what is your sleeping time then also. Because different people sleep at different timings.
We all get up super early, obviously, right? So we're all up a bit early. So I guess
So if you're an early riser, in order to get sufficient sleep, you need to sleep early as well, right? Because that is something that I notice in Singaporeans, people sleep very late. But some people, they don't have a choice. They have to wake up to cycle early in the morning or get to work or get to school. So the only timing you can adjust is your bedtime. You can't control your wake time because you have to get up by hook or by crook, right? So then we work backwards, right? If I say I need to get to bed by 10 p.m., then you wouldn't want to eat dinner at 9 p.m. You want to eat, a bit earlier, allow 2 to 3 hours of digestion. This is what I see a lot of our national athletes as well. They train in the evening. By the time they finish training, it's 10 p.m. By the time they get home, it's 11 p.m. By the time they get dinner, it's 12 p.m. So what time do they sleep? 2 a.m. And then they wake up again 7 a.m. So, yeah, I think it's a lifestyle and your body clock kind of thing. We want to be able to go to sleep at the same time as much as possible consistently every day and wake up consistently every day. If you find that you are struggling to get up in the morning, likelihood is you're sleeping too late. So then we need to adjust your sleep time and then give yourself some time for dinner to digest. Yeah, so there is no strict, I guess, okay, you can't eat before 8 p.m. I think that theory is not important. It depends on your body clock. You want to fit your eating according to what time you sleep, what time you wake up. I hope that answers it.
It does, yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, now we'll do a bit of a activity. Jane, can you help me? Okay, it's a chocolate eating activity.
Those that cycle likely this morning cannot.
So if anyone cannot take chocolate, please let me know.
All there.
No, no food allergies or anything. I don't want to be liable.
If we need Jason here, that's so wrong. Dark chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, so do not eat it yet. Do not open. Just hold it in your hands. Hold it. Yeah, wait for everyone to get a piece of chocolate.
Who don't have chocolate, let me know.
Okay, so everyone should have a piece of chocolate in their hands. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is don't open it yet. Just look at the chocolate, look at the wrapper, feel the wrapper. Okay. Is it a familiar brand? Do I know this brand? Where is it made? Have a feel, okay? Then now you can slowly open the chocolate wrapper, but do not eat it open, just open up. So see how the chocolate sticks to the paper. Is it easy to remove? Okay. Now you can smell the chocolate. Smell it. Okay. Notice any sensations you're feeling. Do you feel like putting it right into your mouth and stuff it in and swallow it? Okay, just notice that sensation of how the smell makes you feel. Do you feel happy smelling it? Does it evoke good memories? Okay, now you can put the chocolate into your mouth. Okay, but do not bite it. Just put it on your tongue. Just put it into your mouth and close your mouth. Okay, just let the chocolate melt on your tongue. Okay, try not to bite and swallow. Okay, so notice the sensations again. How is the chocolate tasting? Is it dark chocolate? Is it milk chocolate? Is there any additional flavors besides chocolate that you are tasting? Try to move the chocolate around your mouth, but don't bite it. Just move it around in different portion of your tongue, up and down, left and right. Do you taste like different flavors at different parts of the tongue? Can taste the oil. So just notice, okay, feel the moment. Okay. Once the chocolate is like fully melted, you may slowly swallow it, or just process the whatever texture that you're experiencing. Okay. Is this the usual way you eat chocolate? What does that make you feel by eating it this way? Too sensual. Did you feel, anyone feel frustrated? Like I can't bite it or I can't swallow it? Yeah? Who feels that you're enjoying the chocolate more this way? The little bit? Okay, anyway, this is like a mindful eating activity, which I thought is interesting to try on you guys, because in this fast-moving society, I notice a lot of people eat very quickly. They tend to, maybe they order the cai fan, by the time 5 minutes, the whole thing is gone, right? We're always rushing here and there, and I think we forget to slow down and savor our food. This is what mindful eating is all about, right? And it's related to the 80-20 rule, because 20% of the time we want to enjoy, let's say, the treat foods. Maybe it's a piece of chocolate. And I think to maximize our enjoyment, we can eat our food more mindfully. If we are mindful about the things that we are eating, we can also be more flexible with our diet, right? Maybe we don't need like the whole block of chocolate. We just need one square, like what the gentleman shared, and then I feel like, actually I'm satisfied because I fully tasted and savored the moment. So this is, I suppose, the how of eating. Yeah, we want to eat mindfully. Of course, not saying that every morning you need to sit down and put it in your mouth so slowly. I guess it's like how we enjoy our treat foods. Okay, to maximize our enjoyment, and I think that in the long term, this will also result in, say, better body composition goals. So, example, you wouldn't overeat, because our brain and our stomach actually needs, say, about 20 minutes to connect to each other to send a signal that, okay, stomach, I'm full already. Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of people eat too quickly, so they're not satisfied, and then they want to go for another serving. And that's how, I guess, calories can overload, eat too much. Okay. Etienne, anything you want to add in at this point before I ramble on?
No, it's okay. Oh, I just want to add something, right? Because like what Sin Hwee is trying to share is all strategies, and a lot of it, right, starts from this simple eating tips, right, to enhance your performance actually. Just think of, I think recently, previously UAE team, right, they have this nutritionist, right, which was just prescribing just carbs, pasta, and all this, right. It's just performance focus, right? But the nutritionist didn't really focus on space. Has anyone heard of this story? Then they changed the nutritionist, right, which focus on a variety of food, like what Sin Hwee has shown, right, go, grow, and grow food, right, and they enjoy eating so much more. So they are able to take in the right nutrition, and ultimately when you enjoy eating, right, performance just comes so naturally and comfortably. I think that's what Sin Hwee is trying to do across, right?
Yeah, because I feel that food is more than fuel. It's also our source of comfort, our source of enjoyment.
Torture yourself.
Right. So in order to be sustainable, I think we need to enjoy what we eat. Otherwise, we can't, keep eating it that way. We are like finding a chore, or just getting out of the way. Yeah. Okay, next we will move on to the next macronutrient, which is protein. Okay, so I would like to ask you guys, how much protein do you think you need or you should be eating?
1 gram per kilo.
1 gram per kilogram? Yeah, we have the textbook answer, for example, HPAL promotion board, 0.8 also. Do you think that is sufficient for, say, an active individual? How much do you guys eat?
1.5.
1.6, yeah?
Probably say 5 grams.
5 grams?
That's probably a bodybuilder kind of intake. But I would say for the active individual, anywhere can range between 1.4 to 2 grams per kilogram body weight that you can aim for. Okay? So I wanted to share this piece of research which was recently done that changed the way we thought about protein. Okay, there always used to be this theory that at any one time we should aim for about 20 grams of protein. That's why your whey protein shake, a lot of it is like 20 grams, right? And it's based on says for example about 0.35 gram per kilogram body weight for an average person who weighs like 60 kilo. So that is used to be touted as the optimum. And more protein doesn't help because you'll be oxidized. That was the old way of thinking. Okay, so I wanted to share that actually that has been disputed because a lot of the older studies didn't take into consideration a long time frame. Okay, so if we look at it for example, the next 12 hours, we'll notice that actually if you eat a large amount of protein synthesis will continue to increase and not plateau off. Protein oxidation also doesn't rise as rapidly as we once used to think. Okay, so this is, I guess, it changed the way how we recommend strategies. We used to say, okay, you really need to spread out your protein 20 grams 5 times a day in order to maximize protein synthesis or muscle building. But then, there's a lot of people who started practicing intermittent fasting. They eat maybe 2 big meals a day. But actually, studies have shown that it didn't compromise their ability to build muscle. So I think, this study gives us a new understanding, which I wanted to share with you guys. Right, but does that mean that you go and eat a huge amount of protein at one meal? That again depends on your eating patterns, right? I would say if I summarize it, if you know that for the next 5 hours, you won't be able to get a meal in with protein, you may want to go for a bigger dose. So rather than the 0.35 per kilogram body weight, you want to go for 0.65, right? And then that will be able to tide you till your next meal, which will be very late, 5 or 6 hours later. If you know that within the next 5 hours you'll be able to have another meal, then you can stick to your 0.35 gram per kilogram body weight. Is that too theoretical? Yeah, question.
I have to ask a silly question. So when I think about grams of protein, is it literally a gram of chicken is the same protein as a gram of red meat?
Okay.
So how should we about it.
Yeah, putting it into actual food, right? So how much meat do you need to eat at one sitting? What is a good gauge? Anyone? Yeah, we like to use the palm size actually. So, because everyone's palm is slightly different size, right? So for the bigger folks, your palm will be like a bit bigger, thicker as well. So you can use the palm as a good kind of indicator. The meat portion, fish also, okay? Your palm size, that will be that about that 0.35 per kilogram body weight for yourself, okay? How much protein is there in an egg? Anyone? Depends on the size of the egg, 5 to 7 grams. So if you want to hit 20 something, you need to eat 3 eggs. Of course, you can mix and match. If you have a glass of milk, how much is that in protein? 1 glass of milk. Usually averages maybe 8 or 10. 7, depending on the brand, I suppose, about 10 grams per 250 mils of milk. What if you are lactose intolerant? You can't take milk. What is the next best alternative? Soy? How about oat milk? Oat milk is quite like a popular beverage these days with coffee. Yeah, so it's a carbohydrate kind of milk actually. So I would advise if you can't take milk, you go for soy. That will be the next best alternative in terms of protein.
What is protein oxidation?
Protein oxidation is basically the body using protein as a source of energy. Means it breaks down the amino acids for energy purpose. So it doesn't go into muscle building.
One other silly question.
Yeah.
So
there's no silly questions.
yeah, so like I guess also some people have like very quick metabolisms or quick food passes through them very quickly. So does that mean that like sometimes I might eat some protein but it actually doesn't get processed by the body? It just gets broken down. You know what I mean? Like
You think it's not digested?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I think when we eat protein, some of it is actually excreted.
Okay.
Not all is absorbed. Maybe that's quite individual. Sorry, back to your question was.
No, I was just asking. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, I think, does that mean that like some people are just going to absorb it differently? So even though you say 0.35 grams and stuff, some people might actually need more because they just.
I would say that the 0.35 comes from because it's specific to your body weight. So, like for a 70 kilo guy versus a 40 kilo guy, the absorption for the 40 kilo person will not be that much. Hence, the value is also a bit smaller. So, I think that takes into account their ability to process the food.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so a little activity here because based on my experience working as a dietitian with the athletes, I noticed that breakfast is always the pitfall where athletes don't get enough protein because our breakfast options are usually carbohydrate heavy. So carbohydrates usually no issues if they even eat breakfast at all, right? But how can we increase the protein intake? I like to highlight that these options are usually the options that we can find when we are out. Right, we go to Ya Kun, we go to a hawker center downstairs, or we go to a bread shop, bakery, Chinese bakery shop. So the challenge, right, that I always give to my athletes is this is the meal that you can actually take ownership of. Because you wake up at home, right? The rest of the time, maybe you're out traveling, it's harder. If I want to make them do meal prep, it's a lot more effort. Some people will do it, but I think a breakfast is a time where everyone can take control. So, how do we improve the Ya Kun meal in terms of protein? If I want to make something at home. Yep, something like that. So, someone mentioned eggs. If I cook 2 scrambled eggs, that's 10 grams right there. Some whole wheat bread, that will be another 4 grams. Another glass of soy milk, that will give me another 10 grams. So, I think that will be at least 20 grams of protein right there. And is it difficult to get these options? Yeah, it's about, I guess, choosing a day, go grocery shopping and stock up on your breakfast needs. How about the pork floss bun? I hope my answer won't be too disappointing. But what are some protein options we can have for our bread?
Ham.
There are many different things. Luncheon meat, once in a while is okay. Maybe it's the 20%. Okay, so things like natural peanut butter can be one option. Even canned tuna can be another option. If you don't want to eat eggs, you want to change it up a little bit, right? Yeah, so I don't know if people will kill me for this, but in case you need good quality granola, you know where to get. But anyway, good quality yogurts like Chobani, the real Greek types, they are really a dense source of protein. If you need more, you can always top up with additional whey protein powder if need be. Okay, what do I have here? Grab and go options. So these are options which will give you at least 10 grams of protein if you're really in a rush and you need to rush out of the house. Yeah, so I think there's lots of room for improvement for protein intake in the morning to give us, make us feel fuller for longer. Okay, let's go on. This is a recipe that's like one of my favorites. It's almost my staple. Of course, in the morning I'll top up with granola for the crunch, but this can be something that we can really prepare ahead of time. And we know that we are in a rush in the mornings, we need something quick. If you're going to the office, you can grab your jar and have it while you reach office. It's I think economical and at the same time hits all your macros, and you can be creative about it. You make different flavors. You like cinnamon, add some cinnamon. You like vanilla, add some vanilla. Different fruits. So this is one that I recommend to my athletes a lot. To help them take charge of their breakfast rather than walking around and depending on what you see, you buy. Yeah. Okay, so to the glow foods, which is my favorite segment. So why we like to talk about eating the rainbow is because, like I shared earlier, each color actually represents a different group of antioxidants, different group of vitamins and minerals, right? So if you're someone who exercise regularly, you're an active person, when we exercise, actually it can be a form of stress to the body. It creates free radicals. So in order and these free radicals, if they stay around in our body, could damage our cells. So this is when antioxidants can come in to neutralize them so that it doesn't harm our body down the road. And this can also help to prevent chronic diseases. Okay, so interesting thing about lycopene found in tomatoes, they are actually better absorbed by the body when the tomatoes are cooked. Yeah, this is just an interesting fact. And tomatoes or lycopene has been found to be protective against prostate cancer. So for the guys, you may want to eat more tomatoes, cooked tomatoes. Okay, and then we have the yellow and orange categories, which are your sources of vitamin C, carotenoids. So vitamin C is not just found in oranges. Your bell peppers, especially the red and yellow ones, are great sources of vitamin C as well. We have lutein and nitrates from your green leafies. Okay, so lutein, anyone heard of this term before? It actually improves our eye health. So there's lots of reason to include lots of different green leafies into your diet. Anyone knows what nitrates are? Yeah. Normally what do you associate with?
Beetroot.
Exactly, beetroot juice, right? So beetroot juice, there has been a supplement form for athletes touted to improve their efficiency of exercise by dilating the blood vessels and enhancing oxygen flow. So actually nitrates are found in green leafies, naturally found. The top source of nitrates in leafy greens, anyone want to guess which vegetable? Close to kale. It's actually arugula or rocket. Yeah, the bitter vegetable, you have it on pizza. Someone is from me. But no worries, that's just a concentrated source. But most green leafies will have some sort of a certain concentrate of nitrates. Nitrates are also found in dark chocolate. Hence, dark chocolate is also not a bad option, okay? Okay, and the last group is the purples, which are your blueberries, strawberries, brinjals. So this one's berries are great. They are lower sugar, high antioxidant fruit to include in your diet. So usually, my overnight oats I'll put berries. And just a tip, I get the 1 kilo. This is an auntie tip now coming. 1 kilo frozen blueberries. Their nutrition and the nutrients are not lost just because it's frozen. In fact, sometimes it's even better than the fresh ones because they are, what's that term? They are quickly frozen upon harvest. Flash, yes, flash frozen, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, and it's a lot more economical, so you can put it in your overnight oats. Okay, this is another kind of, I guess, saying or theory that some people might have. What do you think of this statement? Agree? Okay, why is low calorie foods better?
I feel like vegetables, like fruit and veg, maybe not fruit, but vegetables tend to be a low calorie option. Right? So, in general, if you're eating a lot of vegetables, you're eating low calorie.
Okay, I can't say that is wrong. Anyone disagree with this statement? So, why? Why do you disagree?
Because whenever I don't have enough calorie, I don't get the energy to go through the day.
So again, this is back to your individual needs, right? If, let's say, your need is to lean up, lose body fat, that's your main goal or important goal, then this statement may be true for you, but it's not true for everyone because for a person who is training or you're competing, you do need enough calories to fuel your day, fuel your training session, right? So this statement is not true all the time. I want to link it to nutrition label reading, right? So I encourage you guys to practice this when you're doing your grocery shopping. What do you typically look out for when you look at the nutrition label?
Preservatives.
Is there any preservatives? Yeah, so the ingredient list is where you can look at what constitute the product, right? So if I look at these two, which one do you think is the better quality product? The one on the right, why? Less ingredients. Actually, that's quite an effective way to identify a good product. Usually, when the ingredient label or the ingredient list is long, there tends to be more preservatives, more additives, whatever that's added, right? Okay, so then the next thing we can look at is the actual nutrition values. So you take a look at the product on the left versus the right. Say I want to compare these two products. What should I be looking at if I want to compare? Which is a better quality product?
Sugar saturated.
Do I look at per serve or do I look at per 100 grams?
Percentage.
100.
Okay, I hear a mix, but why per 100?
Because it's consistent.
Yeah. The idea is because each product per serve, the serve size is different. So some food companies, they want to be cheeky about it, right? They just put their serve size as super tiny. By the time you finish the entire packet of product, you've eaten 10 serves. So, yeah, don't just look at the per serve, okay? If you want to compare, for the sake of comparing, always compare apples to apples. That means 100 gram to look at it. So which is the lower calorie product? The one on the left, right? Per 100 grams is 35 calories. The other one on the right, per 100 grams is 58. Almost double, right? So that's why I say don't just count the calories. What else should we look out for a good quality product? What should it be high in? High in protein? Yeah? So the one on the right side has 9.7 versus 0.6. So 9 times more protein. Do I want to choose that one? Okay, what should typically, if I want to go a good product high in protein, what else should it be high in? It's actually not quite here because this product doesn't have that. It's actually fiber. Usually products which are higher in fiber are less processed, can keep you fuller for longer. So two things, higher protein, higher fiber. If I want to have lower, what should be lower? Sugar, yeah. You want to look for lower added sugars, right? And lower saturated fat. Yeah. So total fat doesn't give me the whole idea because, for example, if I look like a product like a natural peanut butter, it's going to be high in total fat. But actually, if you look at the saturated fat, it's pretty low compared to a packet of biscuits. A packet of biscuits may be high in total fat, maybe lower in total fat but higher in saturated fat. Yeah, so go for the lower saturated fat and lower sugar product. Okay, so based on my criteria for you, which is the better quality product here?
Right.
Yeah, so review. Lower ingredient list, shorter ingredient list, a lot more protein, a lot lesser sugar, and yet it is higher in calories.
Australian, mate.
Just pick a strand.
Yes, question.
When I look at the ingredient list, the first image that you share, I also look at the order. Does it matter? I know that it goes decreasing quantity, right?
Yes, good point there. So the first ingredient you see will be the ingredient that makes up the largest proportion of the product. Right? So if I look at the first ingredient on my left side, is water followed by sucrose. What is sucrose? Sugar. So then naturally you will know that it's higher in sugar, right? If I look at the ingredient, the first ingredient is milk.
Is that always the case in every
Yes. Descending order of proportion. So you learned something new today. Yeah. So yeah, you want to look at what is the first few ingredients to determine what is going to be the majority of the substance I'm eating, for example. Okay. So yes, count the nutrients, not just the calories. Of course, counting calories can help if you're tracking or you're trying to lose weight, right? But it doesn't define the quality of the product. Okay, I'm coming to an end, hanging there. So yeah. You want to add anything to say?
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of end off with this quote here. I started off talking about consistency beating intensity. However, this is what I like to share with you. And what is actually opposing this is actually the supplement companies. Just now someone was talking about supplements, right? Supplement companies, what do they claim? Quick results. Eat this and you will see results in 1 week. Right? Detox. Clinically proven to show you results in 1 month, etc. So actually those to me are red flags. If you see any product that claim to help you increase your metabolic rate, suppress your appetite or detox, there's no such thing because our liver detox is the real thing that helps us detox, not whatever that you're consuming. In fact, just yesterday I saw a piece of news on CNA about some detox items causing stroke, or it was flagged out by the SFA to be harmful for consumers. So that's another thing we need to be mindful of. Actually the supplement industry is not well regulated. So there are cases of actually people getting harmed. Not just that it's not effective, actually harm to the body. So yeah, whenever you can eat real food, go for the real stuff. And supplements I'm not saying that supplements cannot be part of our diet. It can. If the base of our diet day to day is well taken care of, then the supplements can make some impact. For example, if you work out in the gym, you want to gain muscle mass, maybe it's inconvenient for you to have a meal or you will take a long time to return home. Perhaps you can have a protein shake first. That it does have a place. Not saying that we shouldn't take any supplements at all. But I think my point is that we want to focus on our day-to-day food first diet and not focusing on the quick results that comes from supplement companies, and it's what they market a lot to consumers. Yep. Any questions in this point of time? Yep. Sure.
What would your advice be to someone who does sport but also enjoys alcohol? Okay. Yeah. so for example, whether it's a leisure sports person versus someone who's prepping for performance race.
So we spoke about periodization earlier, right? I think if we look at the context of alcohol, it can also be part of our diet, but it's more of how we periodize our intake. Right? Perhaps alcohol can be that 20%. Or if I'm preparing for a competition, I may want to stay away from it just for this period of time. Because actually, excessive consumption of alcohol will have negative impacts on your recovery, on your hydration, on your sleep quality. But if you drink it in moderation, I think there's this J curve, you've heard of it before, right? Basically, there's a sweet spot where you drink a little bit, it benefits your health. So something like wine, it actually has some antioxidants in there. But it's when you drink too much, that's when too much of it becomes a bad thing. Yeah, so I would say you can have it as a part of your diet, and not overdo it. And perhaps if you're preparing for a competition, I would say as much as possible stay away from it. That would be my advice, I think. Yeah.
So how about coffee?
Coffee. Who likes coffee here? I think we drink very much so. I'm a coffee lover actually. And in fact, coffee is considered, or caffeine, which is the active product in coffee, is considered an ergogenic aid. You guys know what ergogenic aids are? It's basically things that will help with performance.
Like a stimulus.
Yeah, in a sense. So there are other ergogenic aids like creatine, beta-alanine. Those are all basically specific substances that can improve performance. So, of course, caffeine is a very individual thing. Some people respond to caffeine in the sense that it really keeps them more alert. Some people are non-responders. They can drink coffee before bed, no issues. You may have friends like that. So, your question about coffee is how many cups you can have a day, or what is your question about coffee? Is it good or bad? Depending on what you add to your coffee. Yeah. So coffee on its own or caffeine is not bad. It's when we have frappuccino with all the sugar and the cream added, or if we are always tired in the day, then we depend on coffee. So we are actually not solving the root cause, which is we are not getting enough sleep, and then we just rely on coffee. But the solution is actually to get more sleep. Yeah. So. But studies have shown that up to 3 cups of coffee a day can actually improve cardiovascular health. So I don't see an issue with that unless you're adding a lot of sugar to the coffee. And probably try not to drink it too close to bedtime so that it doesn't affect your sleep. Yes. Question?
I think it's also an issue with dehydration as well. Because it dehydrates very quickly if you stay extra hydrated.
Yeah, good point. It's actually it's actually kind of like a laxative as well. For coffee. So I would say that it can be a pre-ride thing, but during the cycle itself, you still need to be well hydrated. But it can be a performance enhancer. Yes.
So my question is for the 3Gs and the proportion it showed.
Yes.
As I age, now I age feel like wow.
Yeah.
Does the proportion have to change?
That's a good question. I would say that as you age, the protein becomes more and more important to get enough of protein. Because actually, our muscles, unfortunately, are not as effective as before in protein synthesis, etc. So there's this term testing. There's this term called muscles sarcopenia, which we see a lot of elderly losing their muscle mass and then causing them to be more frail, and then falls happen more often. So hitting that amount of protein, I would say, in general, 1.5 grams per kilogram, it becomes more important as you age. So I would say that is important. Plus the range of colorful fruits and vegetables, I think as you age, that shouldn't decrease. Yeah, I think you can focus on the protein, the colorful fruits and vegetables, and then in terms of carbohydrates, periodize it according to what you're doing. Yeah.
Wait, question.
Yes.
Who's first? Okay. Yeah. So for endurance events, be it marathon, very long rides, what kind of natural food would you recommend cyclists or runners or athletes to consume on the bike or on the run that will help them? Natural foods are not talking about gels and stuff that usually we're very lazy, you just grab those.
Yeah. So anyone has any ideas on the bike? What kind of natural foods that is not gel? Dates, bananas. So I would say it's something that is convenient for you to bring along. But I would say bananas and dates are great ideas. They are I would call them nature's energy gel, right? But it's a matter of, I guess, practicing it during your session. Because some people, they may, first time they don't usually eat, they will just drink or things like that. When they start eating, they may feel, okay, maybe a certain stomach upset. But the good thing is our gut is very trainable. So you can start by introducing it into your training sessions and then find the best amount that works for you, and then you do it in competition. So always practice it first. Don't try to introduce new things in the competition. But I think dates are bananas are good ideas.
Yes. For females, should we, is there anything that we need to look out for diet, like according to our cycles?
Okay, that's the menstrual health area, which is actually now developing. The unfortunate thing about this area is that there's no good quality research that is done because it's just difficult to get women to sync their cycles into research. However, I would say for ladies, it's a good idea to get your iron levels checked because we have the monthly periods which we lose. For some people, we can lose quite substantial amount of blood. So iron will be a consideration. If you're someone who experiences, say, cramping that affects your performance, omega-3 has been shown to help. Fish oil, even a turmeric, anti-inflammatory. So, if especially those omega-3s and turmeric can help with the symptom. So, just nice. Okay, yes? Question?
Do you have an opinion on artificial sweeteners?
Artificial sweeteners.
Because I see like in Singapore there's a big move to reduce the amount of calories and the way they do that is artificial sweeteners. Do you have an opinion about that?
What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's terrible because when you go for a ride and you go into like the petrol kiosk and you just want like a Coke, you can't get like a natural Coke.
As in you can't find the original.
Naturally sweet Coke, right? So it's very frustrating. You want sugar, and you can't get sugar. So anyway.
I think this is also a consequence of us launching the Nutri-Grade, where I guess most companies want their product to be labeled A, right, rather than a C, which looks bad. The thing about artificial sweeteners, I'm not sure if you guys have this opinion, but there's a lot of bad rap around it as well. I saw an article, I think, talking about aspartame causing cancer, etc. But the problem with such articles is that they don't take into account what is the normal amount that someone takes. If you drink, even if you drink 1.5 liters of Diet Coke, is the amount of aspartame gonna be? So it's a dose kind of thing, and they tend to blow it out of proportion. So I would say actually Diet Coke is useful for someone who is trying to lose body fat. Yeah, but if you are, you are actually trying to fill up, get more carbohydrates, then the original one with some sugar may be more helpful. So I would say that if drunk or if taken in normal amounts, unless you're telling me you drink like 3 times 1.5 liters of artificially sweetened Coke, there's no evidence that it will cause any harm, at least for now. Yeah.
What's your take on like dieting, or I guess you're about consistency, right? What's your take on dieting? What have you seen that's worked the best?
Okay, so actually that reminds me, what are the reasons that diets fail, in your opinion? Why do they fail?
You go back to
Yeah. So one of it, why the reason I fail is because of over-restriction. Yeah. For example, I completely cut out carbohydrates from my diet, and then the body will start to fight back, and then you will overcompensate. So maybe you were 60 kilos, you managed to drastically drop to 50, other than rebound back to 70. That's something that I noticed. The over-restriction does more harm than good. What's another reason that diets can fail? Yeah, maybe it doesn't suit my lifestyle, it doesn't suit my needs. say for example, I'm someone who writes at high intensity, day to day, but I don't take carbs. So, because carbohydrates is needed for performance, right, exercise performance, that diet doesn't suit my needs. Or maybe too restrictive, doesn't suit my lifestyle, or I just don't enjoy eating anymore. And then I develop a lousy relationship with food. And then that's all like the downfall of diets per se. So what is the best diet out there? The best diet out there is a diet that you can sustain. You can do it in long term, hence consistency beats intensity. That's why I talk about the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you want to follow that balanced plate, adjust your carbs according to your training intensity, and 20% of the time you want to enjoy some food mindfully. Yeah, I think that can help you achieve success in the long term. Yes, question.
I heard that you should not take fiber during your exercise. Is it true?
Fiber, yeah. So fiber is something that it can slow down our digestion. It can stay in our gut for a while. So sometimes this can cause some discomfort. So I would say if it's like a pre-event snack, you probably wouldn't want to take something too high in fiber because it may cause gut discomfort. And also if, let's say, you are someone, your day-to-day fiber intake is very low, you want to try to eat healthier, right? Get more fiber in your diet, maybe from beans, from raw oats, etc. I would advise to go slow also because the stomach is not used to the high fiber load. If you suddenly take in too much fiber, it may cause some discomfort. So gradually increase your fiber intake. Fiber is great, it's just you want to time it carefully, not before an intense effort, especially not before you go for a run. Because that's going to stay in your
So
stomach.
it's not a question. So is banana good during the ride?
Bananas? It can be individual. I've got athletes who take banana and then they need to go to the toilet. I've got athletes who love taking banana. So I would say it depends. Try it for yourself.
How much water should you drink?
How much fluids? That is also something quite individual because different people have different sweat rates. Some people are like heavy sweaters, some don't sweat so much, depending on your body weight as well. But I would say one guide that you can use is your urine color. I don't have a urine chart here, but you can go search online for some urine color chart. So if your urine is consistently, say, the dark yellow, then likelihood you need to drink a bit more. Another way you can track is also your daily morning waking weight. If you notice that every day you're like a bit lighter, that's also likely that you're losing more water. It's not going to be fat mass if it's day-to-day changes, it's the water. Yeah. So if you're noticing a downward trend, you may need to rehydrate a bit more in the day. But remember that hydration doesn't just come from plain water. If we take milk, it hydrates us as well. Even Diet Coke can hydrate us, juices, soups. Yeah, so there are many things that contribute to hydration, not just water. But of course, I think the main thing you should be having is water. And bring a water bottle everywhere you go. I think that will help with hydration. Yes?
What do you think for intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting? That's... Yeah. I would say that and keto is probably the most popular diets. Again, depends on your lifestyle. If it fits into your lifestyle, it doesn't cause you to crash in the middle of your ride, or you're training gym, you have not enough energy to lift the weights. I think it's okay if your goal is to, for example, for body composition purposes. Yeah, so it's a matter of how you feel, I guess. Are you still having good energy levels? Because if that is an effective way to help you reduce calories intake versus calories out, then that could be helpful for example, fat loss. Yeah, so it depends on what is your goal. Yes?
Maybe about the breakfast question. Something related when I was racing. So actually, when I was training and race, the way I eat breakfast is like I'll consider 2 pieces of bread and Nutella, like heavily spread, just 1 serving. I'll eat 4 of that.
That's before your ride, is it?
Yeah, that's my breakfast. I'll get bloated but I'm never full. I tried to mix with like oats with the bread, still only bloated by no food. But maybe say 1 hour into the right, I get hungry. So,
what do you think is the missing thing there?
Protein.
Protein. Yeah, because Nutella hardly any protein, mostly carbohydrates. If you take plain bread like white bread, the protein will be also lower than a wholemeal or whole grain bread. Yeah, so I don't know, it could be you want to add in natural peanut butter spread, have some eggs or have some milk on the side to go with your carbohydrate heavy breakfast. It could maybe last you a bit longer.
but what if even, okay, let's say even with protein in, my metabolism rate used to be very high. One day can eat up to 5 servings, maybe 3 people portion, maybe something.
Yeah.
I'm still getting hungry and never full.
So it's a kind of a hunger issue, right? How about your body weight? Is it consistent? Is it dropping?
The same.
The same? It's just that you're not never full enough. So perhaps for someone like you, it's a issue of you having to eat regularly throughout the day. You have that requirement, but of course we want to make sure that whatever you eat is sufficient in protein, sufficient in carbs to meet your needs. Then yeah, I would say that many meals a day for you, perhaps. It doesn't have to be big meals, it could be snacks in between. A snack that has both carbs and protein.
I'll try again.
Next time we can chat more, give you some suggestion. Can throw in like a smoothie to go with your meal, because that can add protein, carbs and antioxidants all in one meal. That can help with appetite regulation also. Any last questions? Yep. Just
I
for
think I
time.
got two. First one is, are cravings indicative of what the body lacks? And secondly, it's is there a window period after exercise when we should consume our nutrients?
Okay, I'll answer the second question first about the window. So this one is also quite interesting. In the past, there was theory that you need immediately after your practice, right, to reap the full benefits of recovery. I would say now our advice is situational. Say after that training, do you have another training session later in the day? If yes, then I would say the timing becomes more crucial. You want to get in your nutrients ASAP after the first session. If tomorrow is a rest day, I don't have anything else on, you don't have to feel too urgent in, I need to replenish within 1 hour. You can take the next few hours to get in your protein, your carbs, and your fluids. It's okay, because there's no urgent need to recover quickly. Same for competition scenarios, if an athlete has a back-to-back competition in the same day, I will emphasize on the recovery after the first session. Yeah, it depends on what is next for the person. Yeah. Your first question, suddenly I got shocked. Cravings, yes. That's an interesting one. What do you guys think about cravings? Are they indicative of something is missing? I would say that it could be. Especially just now we talked about why diets fail, right? If someone restrict for example, their carbohydrates intake, I think you better not stay close to that person. Probably in a bad mood all day, So yeah, I would say that I don't have very hard evidence on it, but I believe that it could be indicative of us not eating enough. So there's this symptom of like night binge eating, which I think studies have proven that it's just because they're just not getting enough calories, carbohydrates earlier in the day. So at night when they finally have time, they tend to overeat. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
What's your view about snacking?
Snacking?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a snacker.
Nothing wrong with it, right?
Again, back to what are your needs? What are your goals? Right? If let's say I have 2 sessions of high intensity training that day, then yeah, a snack before and after training that could help with my fueling and recovery needs. Okay, if it's a rest day, I'm not doing anything, I'm just staying at home chilling, then probably you don't want to have too many snacks to have the excess calorie add up. Yeah, so snacking is not wrong. It could be helpful in certain situations. It's just about timing it and what are you having as a snack. Does it have the good macros? Yes.
Are there any foods or meals you absolutely do not recommend eating whatsoever?
That's a very tough question. I mean, there's a lot of, I look up on Instagram, people talking about ultra processed foods. My take is that nothing is really like forbidden. I wouldn't put a rule that this is something so bad. Maybe like weight loss supplements, if anything, that's not food. But if it's food, it's hard for me to say, no, it's what I should have more of, what I should have less of. So more of the real food, less of the processed food. But I wouldn't say completely no to any food. Yeah, but I would say absolutely no to supplements that claim they can help you detox. Because there's no such thing as BS. Yeah. Any other last questions? Yes.
Is it okay to eat carbs at night?
Is it okay to eat carbohydrates at night? At night meaning just before you go to bed or dinner time? Dinner time? Again, depending on what you've been doing that day, right? If it's a post-training meal, well, you don't need the carbohydrates to refuel. And also, there's been studies that shown that eating rice or carbohydrates at dinner improves our sleep quality. Yeah, because of tryptophan and etc. So yeah, right, you can, unless you, depending on your goals, right? Like sometimes reducing carbohydrates in the nighttime can help with body fat reduction, but it really depends on what you're doing that day, what are your goals. Yeah.
If you got to ride next day morning.
Right, next day morning?
Will that help?
Oh yeah, I think you should have some carbohydrates at dinner time. Yes. Yeah.
But maybe it depends on what kind of carb. Like if you eat white rice, right, it's quite high in sugar, it's processed very fast. I think it's the same as the bread thing that you talked about before. If you eat a very high processed bread compared to maybe Tibetan atas kind of like
sourdough or whole
It
grain.
would be like processed slower, right?
Yeah, so I mean it's higher protein, higher fiber. Because currently it's quite refined, I would say, like Nutella and things, right? Yeah. Choose something with higher fiber, higher protein option. Maybe we can help you not to feel hungry too often.
Probably they'll regret it.
Okay, I think that's the end. I just wanted, I should have flashed them earlier, I forgot. So yeah, depending on what version of me you want to follow up with, is it the baker version or is it the dietitian consult services? You can scan the codes accordingly, but I'm happy to connect and happy to chat more. Tim, you want to end off?
Okay, thank you everyone for your wonderful questions, and I'm very glad that you all have asked a lot of nice questions, and hopefully you can turn those into actions. And also, thank you very much to Darren for organizing this. We'll miss you. Thanks a lot, Darren. And if you all have any other things that you all want to find out a bit more, we are happy to organize more workshops. We want to really create a better version of yourselves. Okay, so thank you very much again. Good night, everyone. Hope to see you all again on the road. Bye bye.
If anyone wants supper, please for breakfast.
Can bring back also, please.
Do you got tapao box?
Yeah, please.
So durian yellow color, right?
Can
Hey, different yellow color is which one? The rainbow, yeah.
Carbohydrates.
Not the.
Actually, it's
Consider the rainbow. Because he didn't eat rainbow. He ate the durian very fast.
Hey, no, not me only. We all.
Maybe
I don't know what to do.
follow already and
We're gonna get a photo, Darren.
like sesame.
No.
Photo ah.
Let me throw away.
Put like some people there and then some at the front.
You not eating dark chocolate, man? Give Toby ah.
What?
Wait, no, Toby got his quota already.
No, I don't need.
1 square a day.
I don't need.
1 square a day and 3 days.
No one. Stop it.
Discipline, bro.
These days, I'm like follower one. Put like 15 people here and then